Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to discuss what you should try to get done before the end of Season 3, before these rewards go away forever, focusing on obviously the seasonal content mainly and some additional events and some remix things, but we'll kick things off with the War Within content. Now, just as a heads up, Season 3 is ending a little bit differently to how expansions have in the past. In the past, traditionally, we've had what we would call a post-expansion season, whereby all three raids have been open at the same time, and we've had essentially a huge, kind of post-season event where you get a whole bunch of bonus rewards. They've changed that now with the War Within. Season 3 will just continue right up until the end, basically, and the release of the next expansion. So it's still up for a while, definitely another 2 to 3 months, before the pre-patch event occurs, which will be around about 4 weeks before the release of the expansion in March. So basically you still have time to complete a lot of these, so don't panic, but you need to start getting on them. First we'll start off with Delves. So before anyone asks, this is the Cowie's achievement filter. It just helps me to run through different content a little bit differently. But basically, to cut a long story short, if we take a look at the various achievements that we can get, we have with flying colors. So this one is with flying colors, which essentially requires you to achieve brands Delvers Race as the Horde or as the Alliance, which you should get if you manage to max out your Delvers journey on either faction. We then also have War Within Tier 11 Season 3, which is for hitting Tier 11 Season 3. This one should be pretty straightforward, but obviously is fairly simple. There's also some different achievements, which requires you to hit Tier 11 on a healer, tank, and a DPS, and these will all give you different titles. We then have Journey's End, which requires you to complete the Delver's Journey, which is pretty straightforward. Journey's End Season 3. We then also have Let Her Solo Me, which is a different achievement, basically. Let Her Solo Me, which requires you to get killed by Kavisa in a delve. This also correlates to 3 more achievements, which is My Stabby Happy Nemesis, which rewards you with a cosmetic visor, Pruning the Princess, and Let Me Solo Her Nexus Princess, Kavisa. All of these require you to defeat Kavisa in her lair, which is a special delve that you can find in the major area of Koresh. So if you look here, you can see that we will have a alternative delve, not Archival Assault. There will be another one which requires you to defeat Kavisa, the Nexus Princess, and this allows you to grab some additional rewards and challenges, which is great. So that one is pretty straightforward and super duper simple. That covers everything for the delves. We then have 2 of the achievements for the raids. So we have Ahead of the Curve. So Ahead of the Curve for Dimensius, which is pretty cool. And then we also have the Cutting Edge Dimensius the Devourer, which is defeating him on Mythic difficulty, which is pretty interesting. So that one requires you to defeat him on Mythic difficulty before the release of the next raid tier. Defeating him on Heroic or higher will reward you with the Reigns of the Royal Wing Void Wing. So this is a cool mount that is a drop, so I highly suggest you do that. It should be easier than ever to do it on Heroic. Of course, as well, any of the raid drops as well will also have a increased level of reward. So anything from the boss, meaning like the weapons, transmog, all of that has increased drop rates, so highly suggestible that you grab it as well, things like the toys, etc. The Horrific Visions Revisited is a great one to do. Horrific Visions Revisited has a ton of achievements with it, and a ton of mounts. I have a guide on the mounts, which I'll leave in the top right hand corner. There are like over 9 of them in general. Literally tons of great ones, including the Voidfire Death Cycle, which is absolutely awesome, by the way. Plus, on top of that as well, there are also a few horrific vision achievements that you may want to consider doing, which is Mad World. So getting the Mad World achievement, which is complete all objectives in a single visit while not in a party and with all 5 faceless masks active, and then Through the Looking Glass, which also is an achievement that players may want to get, as it gives you a title. So both of these give you titles. Highly suggest what you get them. The faceless one, the Mad. Horrific visions are moderately difficult. You should be able to handle them depending on your class, but it's mainly the mounts that I would really suggest grabbing, as a lot of them are really cool and really awesome. Next, we're going to look at Season 3 of The War Within. So this is Season 3 of the Mythic Plus. There's a lot going on. So we have the Season 3 achievements. These are things like the War Within Conqueror. Then obviously from there you also have Master, which requires you to get a 2000 rating. And then you also have Legend, which requires you to get a 3000 rating. The 2000 and 3000 ratings will give you various skins of the Void Flyer, both the Violet and Scarlet variations of the Void Flyer, which are really cool. Mounts, so those are really awesome. So they are, I would say, probably some very cool mounts. Then from there you also have a couple other ones. So we have obviously our overall rating. Then we also have, for example, completing all of them within a rank 12, and basically you have Unbound Hero as well for ranking within the 0.1% of all players in your region. So there's a lot of interesting achievements here, which is great. Also nice to mention the 2 hard mode achievements. So we have Tazavesh, the Veiled Market, and we have Flawless Transaction, both of which are feats of strength, which require you to complete Tazavesh on hard mode, and then complete Tazavesh on hard mode within a single lockout, all the bosses, without anyone dying. It's pretty tough stuff. That covers Mythic Plus, which is obviously very, very, very difficult. But I think for the most part, getting the mounts is not too hard, depending obviously on your gear and what class you're playing. Next, we'll take a look at PvP. So in terms of PvP, we have some interesting kind of, situations. So PvP's always got its own level of different types of challenges and things. So when it comes to PvP, depends on your season. Obviously there's quite a few different ones obtaining different ranks in the various levels of content. So for example, reaching a rating of 1600 within rated PvP, just your general battlegrounds. You then also have reaching a rating of up to 2100. This will reward you with the Duelist War Within, which is ultimately the achievement that you want, as this one will give you basically a big, here we go, this one will give you the character title Duelist, but also will give you the Astral Gladiator's prestigious cloak. And then the Elite, which is reaching a 2400 rating, will give you the Astral Gladiator's Tabard, which is very, very, very good. And then if you reach a rating of 2500 Conquest, you will receive a different couple titles and Astral Gladiator weapon tokens, which allow you to get special transmog items for gladiators. And then we also obviously have the Astral Combatant achievements. These are based on your ranking in PvP, so the challenges and titles are one thing, but the rankings as well allow you to grab various different mounts. And this seasonal mount is the Vicious Void Creeper, which unfortunately I don't think shows up in the various there. No, it does. So there we go, the Vicious Void Keeper, and this is from attaining a rated arena and rated battleground seasonal ranking of getting to a certain rank. So this is actually from winning 100 rated PvP matches, I believe, at 1000 rating or higher, which is, yeah, pretty cool. So you can see that here, pretty straightforward, nice, and awesome. And that covers PvP. We then have some different War Within Season 3 specific achievements. These correlate mainly to your character overall, so there's no specific like general achievements for this. Well, these are just general achievements, I should say, for your character. And these are, for example, the Carved of the Undermined, the Weathered of the Ethereal, the Gilded of the Ethereal, and the Ruined of the Ethereal, which allow you to trade for the various crests. And then we also have the Voidborn Victor, which is a special achievement depending on if you complete one of 3 various achievements, but this will give you an extra charge for your catalyst, which is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. We then also have the Turbulent Timeways event. This is an event that requires you to maintain a buff by doing time walking dungeons. It's highly advisable that you do this, as it gives you a really nice mount, the Grave Wing, the Bronze Grave Wing, which is pretty cool. You still have time to do it. I missed last week, but you still have plenty of time to do it. You need to maintain your buff, so you need to do 4 time walking dungeons, and then you need to maintain that buff by doing a dungeon every week. It's a very cool mount, and it's a very awesome one to get. And then obviously we have Legion Remix. Now, I'm not on a Remix character right now, but Legion Remix has tons of rewards. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that Legion Remix has a ton of great rewards. So my suggestion, as always, to players, is basically to really just go watch my videos on Legion Remix to have a bit of a better understanding. I have linked the stuff that you want to get that will disappear permanently in the top right hand corner. Everything else is just a bonus. Obviously, the more you play that event, the more or better time you're going to have, the more rewards you're going to get. So yeah, that's it from me. But that's it from me. Hopefully this has given you guys an idea of what to do and what to focus on. Of course, as always guys, there is a ton of other events that are up. You'll have your Fireworks Celebration, your Feast of Wintervale. You will have various time walking events. You can level alts. You can participate in Legion Remix. You can just take a break and play another game. So there's plenty to do in World of Warcraft. I highly suggest you give it a go. But yeah, that's it from me. See you guys in the next one. Till then, bye.